I have some pie crust, which is just expiring this month. So I want to get it done and finished and used up because I make my own also. But I believe in rotating stuff out as quickly as possible. So I'm going to make small quiche. This video is part of a collaboration named Quick and Easy Meals. And it's hosted by the Grace Life DIY Home Decor, Jean Home Decor and More, and Debby Bubbles. Hashtag Quick and Easy Meals. And I've been going through the freezer and the refrigerator. I just pulled out some Monterey Jack cheese that I got at Grocery Outlet, a big bag of it, and I'm going to set that aside. I also have some mushrooms that were in the freezer, and I'm going to use about half of those. The rest I'm going to put in the freezer. I just chop them up when they're fresh. That's about right. I have a piece of squash from the garden. I cut off some of this to make an omelet the other day. And I also have some yellow pear tomatoes. Ground cherries are in there too, but they're not going in the quiche. I'll also be adding some milk and some eggs. I have some eggs that a friend of mine gave me. So by the time this is done, a lot of this will have been homegrown. So I'm going to start by cutting the rest of this squash up, and then I will deal with the tomatoes. So I think this is a regular yellow squash. I grew crookneck squash, and the crookneck squash had so many seeds in it. It was just inedible. Well, it wasn't inedible, but you have to pull out what's inside. This has seeds too, but they're not developed, so I'm not going to worry about them. I'm not going to go crookneck in the future. I was reading about it, and they talked about the fact it has a ton of seeds. Now with quiche, soft vegetables, you do not have to pre-cook. If I was going to put potatoes in here, yes, I would have to pre-cook that, or meat or fish. But for squash and tomatoes and mushrooms and things like that, they can go straight in. Also, onions, can cut them up real small. There's a lot of liquid in a quiche, so it cooks it as the whole thing bakes. All right, I'm just going to let this all hang out here until the mushrooms have defrosted. And here goes with the little pears. I'm going to just cut these in half. It's kind of nice when there's some contrast. Right now I've got the yellow squash and the yellow tomatoes. You know, green squash would be pretty in there, red tomatoes, but I really want to be true to what I have in the refrigerator and what I grow in the garden. So sometimes we have to let aesthetics go, and it is going to be eaten and enjoyed. So I'm going to make a small one, as I mentioned. I think the pie crust makes two, and if I make one, it's just too big. But I'll make one like this with fresh veggies, and then I was going to make another one with winter squash and mushrooms also, and potatoes, and that's a whole different experience. It's a savory one with rosemary and stuff like that. This one's just going to have nutmeg in it for sort of a cozy smell. The smell of nutmeg baking in the oven is just like, there's something about it which is kind of magical, and it really enhances the quiche. All right, that looks about right. So I'm going to let this just hang out here till everything has defrosted. Okay, I've just warmed the oven up to 350. I've got my veggies here. I was actually out in the garden during the break. I'm going to put the cheese in here. I kind of helped loosen it up from the freezer. I don't know how much is in there, maybe 2 cups. I like it really cheesy. So here are 3 eggs. We're going to put 3 eggs in here. They're from my friend's chickens. I got 2 big ones and 1 smaller one. They are so pretty. I'm going to put them in here, and I'm also going to put milk in here and mix that all up. There's 1 egg. Second egg. And, whoops, this one's a little harder shelled. There you go. That egg. Look at the difference in the yolk sizes. It's kind of fun. These I'm going to put outside in the sun. I have a rack out there, and I dry them out and use them in my plants. I'm going to be adding about 1/2 cup of milk into this, and I don't keep fresh milk around or liquid milk usually. So I have this powdered milk, and it calls for 2 tablespoons of powdered milk to half a cup of water, and that's exactly what we need. I heard from Ashley at Martin Midlife Misadventures that the very best dried milk you can get is Swiss Miss. So when I'm done with this, I will be getting Swiss Miss. All right, let me pour my half a cup of water in there. I'm just going to go by the measurements. Went over a little bit. It's fine. This is not, the quiches are not an exact science. It's close enough. So I'm going to go ahead and stir that. Whoops, spilled. It's powdery, so it tends to explode. Okay. And I'm going to mix this in with the eggs right now. And we'll pour it on top of the other ingredients once I get the pie crust made, which, believe it or not, is the part I hate the most. I hate making pie crust. My other bread machine that broke had a setting which would make pie crust. I don't think it actually was set to make pie crust, but I could use it for pie crust. So I have to look at mine again. I also can put it in the in my mixer, but it's not necessary for this. You just add water to this and it pulls itself together pretty quick. I think it's mainly the rolling out and all that stuff, but way cheaper than buying a pre-made one. This makes 2 pie crusts. When I use the whole thing, I can fill a Dutch oven with this, but I just want to fill one small cast iron frying pan. So I'm going to make this up and put half in the refrigerator. These are really great. It's nice to have 1 or 2 of these around in case somebody's suddenly appearing. I've made quiches with this on the spur of the moment. I've made pies on the spur of the moment. Let's pour it in here. Makes quite a bit. All right, 1 package, 4 to 5 tablespoons of cold water. I have some ice water here. I always have a jug. So let's start with 1, 2, 3. It says 4 to 5. It could be even more. It's so hard to tell. It's kind of, I guess it's elevation based and humidity based and weather based and flour based. Just don't know what this pie crust needs at any given time. Or any pie crust for that matter. Well, this is still dry, so I'm going to add another tablespoon. I'll probably go the whole 5 tablespoons, but we'll see. It might be different for you too, so this isn't necessarily the gospel truth for where you're at. It seems to be sticking together. I'm going to go in with my hands and see how it feels. Just about right. My hands are clean. Don't worry, but you got to feel it. Yeah, this is about right. So it was about 4 tablespoons. I'm going to go ahead and take about half of this out right now and use it for something else. This actually might need a tad more water. We'll see. I can always sprinkle more on once I'm in the rolling process. So hard to tell. I'm just not intuitive when it comes to pie crust. Okay. That's about half. I'm going to gather this in a ball and then we'll start rolling it out. It might need a little bit more water here. Again, the stuff that was at the bottom, maybe half a tablespoon. It's just, that's what I just hate. It's just so hard to know what it wants, needs. It changes on a minute by minute basis. There. All right, that's roll out ready. I like to roll my dough out on a parchment paper, then I lift the whole thing and put it in the pan, and then I can lift the pie out too. So I'm going to put a little bit of white flour. I always have a small amount of white flour here just in case. And let's get started. All right. Let the rollout begin. No guarantees. Not what I'm good at. Just going to go gently and around and gently and around. I will be back in a little bit. Well, that's kind of where I'm at with this. It is sort of a oblong. And some patching is going to need to be done, but I did give you a disclaimer on me and pie crust. Here's the frying pan size I'm going to be using, and I'm just going to put this right inside like that, and then just adjust it. Actually, it fits fine. Maybe I'm too hard on myself. Check it out. I'm going to do some patching though. Not bad. I'm going to go ahead and cut this edge off. It just gets in the way. Parchment paper, having this in your kitchen is worth every penny. I got a package of it from Dollar Tree, or I get it in rolls from Dollar Tree, and it has saved me burning pans. It has saved me hours of trying to wash things that are not washable, and I just think parchment paper, for me at least, is a must-have. So that's a little low, so I'm going to take some of this off and do some patching here. Good thing I was a quilter in my younger days, right? I know how to patch. All right, that's just going to have to be it. And if any of it escapes and goes behind the crust, it's no big deal because it gets caught in the parchment paper and you don't even really know what happened. All right, so that's good. For great flavor, at least for this one, you want to put some nutmeg in there. It just, I don't know, elevates it. I'm maybe going to put a teaspoon. I don't, maybe half a teaspoon. Yeah. It is so good. It gives it a nice smell, a nice flavor, and again, kind of brings it to the next level. There we go. Now it's ready. I'm going to go ahead and put this cheese and vegetables in there. I'm going to mix them up a little bit. Sometimes I've layered them. There's a leaf, a tomato leaf in there or something. Sometimes I layer this, but I'm just not going to do that today. I'm just going to mix the cheese and the veggies together. Got mushrooms, tomatoes, and squash. Put them all in like that. Make sure they're evenly distributed. I am looking forward to this, let me tell you. It's nice to have hot meals now. It's getting kind of chilly. So one hot meal a day. I also sometimes, if I make a big one, I will cut them up into pieces and freeze them individually and then put them in the oven, and they warm up just like they were just baked. All right, so I have my egg, milk, and nutmeg mix, and I'm just going to pour that slowly. Let it kind of get in there. Don't flood it. Slowly soaking in. Let me move this over. And this will go down a little bit too. The veggies will shrink and everything will shrink a little bit. Well, it looks like it worked out. Perfect. It will move around in there. And again, I have the oven at 350 and I'm going to put it right in. All right, check this out. Isn't it the most beautiful thing? It's still bubbling. I like to have a little bit of browning on the top, but not too much browning. You can definitely overcook this. This took about an hour, a little less than an hour, maybe 50 minutes. My rule of thumb is when the knife comes out clean. I'm going to let this hang out here in the pan for a little while and cool down. Then I'm going to take it out of the frying pan and put it onto another surface. This is why having that parchment paper is such a marvelous thing. I just lifted this thing out of the frying pan, and then you can pull this off as things cool off and go ahead and cut it. And here it is, absolutely perfect, still steaming. I'm going to have a wonderful lunch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I made it not just because I wanted to make lunch, but I also wanted to show how it's possible to make wonderful meals with what you already have. This was from my freezer, my refrigerator, my garden, my pantry. I just needed to pull it all together. Anyway, hope you are doing well and pulling together some wonderful meals for yourself. Thank you so much for watching.